What is up? Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. Today we are back reviewing a new film that is only playing in theaters, and that film is called Bullet Train. And I say, without further ado, I say we get right into it. Jason, you're actually going to take this one away, so take it away, sir.
Like a train.
Yes. Take off.
Yeah. So yeah, Bullet Train. I'm not going to go super into detail with the plot because it's one of those movies that, much like a typical Guy Ritchie movie, it is intentionally complicated with multiple characters crisscrossing and surprise elements and twists and all that kind of stuff. So it would take forever to detail, and that would lose the fun of it anyway. So, but the bottom line is that Brad Pitt is in the lead as a hitman who is coming back to work after an extended absence where he's been kind of, finding himself, doing a lot of therapy and stuff like that. And it's his first job back. And his handler, I don't know if that's her exact title, but his essentially his boss is played by Sandra Bullock, who you only hear on the phone for most of the movie.
Right.
But she's given him an assignment to get on this train and find a briefcase and get off the train. Seems really easy, but if it was that easy, the movie would only be about 15 minutes long, and we know that's not the case. So basically, for 99% of the movie, you're on this train with Brad Pitt running into and bouncing off of and crisscrossing paths with all sorts of unsavory characters, and played by probably my favorites are a pair of brothers named Lemon and Tangerine, played by Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson. They're great. I think they're awesome. And there's various other characters played by Joey King. Can't remember the other names, but there's loads of characters. Zazie Betts, I think is her name.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Beats or Bets. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, she's in there. And then there's a couple of characters there's one character who's the casting is kind of a surprise, so I'm not going to spoil that. But so that's pretty much it. It's it's a zany comedy action movie where Brad Pitt is basically getting in fights with various people and crossing paths, and things are stolen and lost and regained, and it's one of those like wild. It's very much like a Guy Ritchie movie. I'll put it that way. It's very like a Guy Ritchie movie, And I just want to say, I was really on board this movie for quite a while. Probably the first half, I was really with it. I was having a blast. I was laughing. Brad Pitt is fantastic in this movie. Clearly having a great time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's very funny. He's an interesting character. He doesn't typically play this kind of role, so it's kind of neat to see him in a kind of a light, loose comedy and an action movie at the same time. And like I mentioned before, I really like Lemon and Tangerine, Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So I like all three of them throughout the movie. I will say it does go rather long. It's like 2 hours and 8 minutes or something like that. And there was no point that I stopped enjoying myself really, but I did realize about somewhere in the second half that I was just kind of over it. It's kind of weird. It was just kind of it gets pretty repetitive because it's just the same. I mean, the same kind of twists are happening over and over. And at some point, it just got too cartoonish for me, is the best I can say. You know what I mean? With all the cameo appearances that are just kind of, not really. There's not really a good reason for at least two of the big cameo appearances. And I don't know. It's hard to explain, except that at some point I was just kind of, okay, let's wrap this up. It would have been much better at an hour and 45 minutes, I think. You know what I mean? But I didn't dislike it. It was good. It's just I guess I wish it didn't lose me about 3/4 of the way through. So, at some point I was just not having a great time anymore, and then it was over. you know. But Brad Pitt is great throughout. It looks really good. It looks amazing. It's directed by David Leith, who I had higher hopes for this because he did Atomic Blonde, which I think Atomic Blonde is one of the best action movies of the last several years, in my opinion. This is definitely no Atomic Blonde. Atomic Blonde's got like a sense of grit and kind of depth that this movie entirely lacks, and I think that's on purpose. I mean, this movie's not trying to be anything deep; it's trying to be silly, surface entertainment. And it excels at that for a while. It's just after a while, it just got too cartoonish for me. He also did Deadpool 2, which I actually liked, even though I didn't like the first Deadpool. But I have no need to see Deadpool 2 again, really. So I guess I'll just stick with Atomic Blonde from now on with his filmography, I guess. But his stunt coordination work in the John Wick movies, I think he's done the stunt coordinating for all of those movies or most of them. Obviously, that's excellent. But anyway, I hope his next movie is something with a little more heft to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was my take. How about you?
Yeah, I probably felt probably about the same, maybe. It's got some humor in it. It's got some good action scenes for sure. But like you said, it does get a little repetitive because he keeps running into basically the same characters over and over again. You're on a train and they keep running to all the same characters, and he's just kind of like, to say he's a hitman is because he's more of like a bag man, like a grab man, you know what I mean? So he kind of doesn't really want to kill people per se, but he's on this train with obviously, a bunch of nefarious people that, are all kind of after this briefcase for various reasons. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like it starts off really great. I'm having a lot of fun in the, like the first hour or so. I'm having a lot of fun. But like I said, it does feel a little repetitive towards the end, and you're kind of waiting for the film to wrap itself up. And then, like you said, a lot of those cameos that they threw in of like some famous actors, if you will. We said Zazie Beetz, who's almost a cameo herself, and there's some other ones as well that I won't mention by name. But yeah, it's got all these cameos in there, and I'm just like, there's one cameo where literally the person's in there for like a second. You know what I mean? It's like some major star that has like literally no speaking lines and is only in there for a second. I'm like, well, what was even the point of that? I guess just to be fun and funny. But by that point, I was already semi not checked out, but already ready for the film to kind of wrap itself up by that point. So I didn't really care. And then, like I said, and there's a lot of like characters that I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of characters that you think have been killed that aren't killed, and then they show up later, and so there's a lot of stuff like that that's in there that just kind of irked me a little bit as well. I'm just like, where's the story trying to go? And then when we finally get to the conclusions of the story, it's so convoluted, and like you said, there's so many twists and turns, and everybody's got a secret, and everybody's got something going on as to why they're on the train, as to why they're looking for this case, as to how they ended up in the train, and and so it was just too much by the end of it. I think I agree with you. I think they kept it like a nice, sweet hour and a half, cut out some of the fluff. It would have made for a much more interesting and entertaining film, in my opinion. So, but I still liked it, and I don't want to knock it completely to say it's a bad film or anything like that, because I still didn't have a bad time watching it. I just was expecting something a little better. Obviously, by the time I saw it, I had already seen kind of what the reviews were saying about it, so I knew that they weren't great. But it was a film that I was really hyped for initially, until obviously I saw some reviews, and maybe that kind of affected me a little bit. But I was still really pumped to see it, because I know sometimes critics are not the best judge of character. We just reviewed another film, The Gray Man, which we both like, which was pretty much panned by critics. So so it's not always the case. But this one, I don't know, it was good, but it was just okay. So
yeah, it's like the first hour I was like, why were there all these bad reviews? This movie is a blast. And then like by the time it got to the end, I was so like worn out with all the meaningless twists and everything like that I was like, okay, I kind of get why a lot of people are just kind of not too enamored with this movie, you know. And
Yeah.
like it seems like it's the kind of movie that I should love, and it's got a lot of parts that I love, and it's
Oh, for
made
sure.
by somebody who obviously likes the same kind of movies that I do, but you know, it's just not always gonna all hang together, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes it
Yeah,
works, sometimes it doesn't. Unfortunately, that's just the way it
yeah,
goes. You know, and like I said, it's an uneven film for sure, but it's not a bad film by any means, in my opinion. It's just not a great film either. So,
yeah,
but you know, would I watch it again? Probably. Would I buy it? Probably not. So
yeah.
I don't know. So leave it at that. So anything else you want to add about Bullet Train?
Nope.
All right. Overall grade and face you would give this one.
I have a funny feeling that this is a very, very rare occasion that we're going to give the same rating. You tell me if I'm right, because I gave it a 3 out of 5, which is like a, you know, kind of more like an average, because like the first hour, that's a 3.5 or 4 out of 5. And then like it just kept going and going and going and like losing me.
For
So
sure.
it kind of averaged out with a 3, I'd say, out of 5. So
Yeah. Almost. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. Actually.
whatever. Shut up.
No, I gave it 3, and I gave it 3 out of 5 also. So we're right. You're right on the money. Yeah. No, you're actually absolutely right. Yeah, I kind of figured we're probably on the same link just by the conversation. But yeah, I also 3 out of 5. Which for me, sometimes I give like a quality 3. That's like a film that I just respect, but I probably will never watch again. This is a 3 that I did enjoy, like you said, for the most part. I enjoyed probably 2/3 of the film. So it's not fair to say that I didn't like it. It's just, if they had just cut off like a half hour, it would have been a little bit more of a complete film for sure. Just it was a little overly bloated, and they could have cut out a few of the cameos, and I think it would have been a much more complete film in my opinion. So for me, it's just like I said, just a smile, no teeth in this case. So.
No teeth.
Cool. Well, let us know
Yeah.
down in the comments. Have you seen Bullet Train? Did you like it? Did you not like it? As always, if you like the channel, we ask that you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification, and we'll be back again with another show for you guys. We thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.